Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. Now it is also time for a 100% honest review of the most recent update. I do this after every single update and I'm always 100% honest about the things that I love, but I'm also 100% honest about the things that, well, the things I don't love. For this update, we got 2 new brawlers, including Jacky and Sprout, a new environment, improvements to old environments, a Daryl rework, 7 new skins, the Psg Cup, the underdog system, some balance changes, and of course, gadgets. Let's start off with the biggest change in this update, and of course that is gadgets. Wow, okay, this is exactly what Brawl Stars needed if you ask me. In fact, gadgets are almost word for word what I said Brawl Stars needed like 8 months ago. The one difference though is that I suggested that they should be like available like a new level 11 instead of level 7. So let's talk about why I suggested gadgets for level 11 and why I think Brawl Stars decided to go with level 7 instead. Now, one of the things that I love about Brawl Stars is that for a multiplayer online battle arena, also known as MOBA, which is the type of game Brawl Stars is, Brawl Stars is actually pretty simple, okay? Even when you compare it to other mobile MOBAs, Brawl Stars is just easier to pick up for people that either are younger or for people that just don't have experience playing other MOBA games. Or, you know, if people just don't like the complexity of those other MOBA games. Now, this is a good thing because it means that Brawl Stars appeals to a wider audience, but it does come with that drawback of having a lower skill cap than other MOBAs. This means that hardcore gamers or longtime fans of Brawl Stars are likely to get bored of the core gameplay and actually leave the game for something a little bit more depth, you know, something that will hold their interest longer. Now, this is an issue that I estimated would be a problem for Brawl Stars sometime near the end of 2020. So props to Supercell for doing it so early this year. And I figured that gadgets being introduced at level 11 would actually fix this because long-term players who were seeking more depth would be able to unlock new abilities without making the game too complex for new players, you know, so that both parties could enjoy the game. So why level 7? I think that it's because the goal of getting a star power for a brawler is just too big and too unreasonable for most new players. At the rate that Brawl Stars is releasing new characters, people are going to have to play the game for years if they are free to play and they want to max out their account. Players can get a star power here or there, but if we're talking about getting all star powers for all your brawlers, that's pretty unreasonable for anybody who is not willing to spend any money on the game, once again, unless you're willing to play the game for several years. Now, this means that a good majority of the players wouldn't ever experience the depth that a level 11 would actually offer. On the flip side, level 7 is much more attainable, okay? If you look at power points and coins required to level up, reaching level 7 is just over 1/3 of the progress to level 9. This is very reasonable to reach even for non-spenders. Like, seriously, free-to-play players can easily get all the brawlers to level 7. It's, you know, it takes some dedication, but you can do that. Gadgets at level 7 gives each new player a clear goal for each of their brawlers, and I think this is going to add a lot of depth at the perfect time for them to be able to, like, maintain their interest in the game while they then focus on getting star powers for their brawlers. Okay, honestly, I feel like this is really genius, and I'm really glad that Supercell thought about doing it this way rather than the way that I suggested, so y'all eat crow on that one. Good job, Supercell. By the way, I wanted to give a quick reminder that the best way for you to max out your account is still to always have at least one brawler at level 9, so that there is then a chance of getting a free star power from boxes. If you do this, you should unlock roughly half of your star powers and the majority of your gadgets from brawl boxes, which will save you a ton of gold and a ton of time progressing your account. Okay, so you guys know that I love gadgets, right? They're adding another level of depth to the game, and it is exactly what the game needs. As far as balance goes, it's pretty clear that some of them need some rebalancing and some of them should probably be reworked in my opinion, but I actually think the team did an incredible job considering they added a new ability to all 33 brawlers. That is not easy to do, and I think they did a great job. It's just a matter of time before things get evened out. You know, they do some balances, some nerfs, some reworks and things like that, and it'll all be good. But there is one thing about gadgets that I am not very happy with. It has to do with the frequency that they're actually being put into the Brawl Stars shop, which, if anything, that actually has more to do with the way that the shop works than the gadgets. In fact, I actually did a poll over on Twitter asking people how many gadgets they have unlocked, and more than half of people said that they had 2 or less. right? And 17% of them said that they didn't have any at all. Why are the gadgets not popping up in the shop? Come on, Supercell, I want to play the content. I have all of the brawlers. I have all of the star powers aside from Jacky's, and I have 83,000 gold. And at the time that I am recording this, my shop has been gadgetless for 4 out of the 5 days since the update. Let me spend my gold. This is the one time it's actually useful. I have given this same piece of feedback to Supercell with the release of every single new brawler because it takes days for the new brawler star power to drop up in the shop. I really feel like if you are only missing gadgets or star powers and you have enough gold to unlock them, the shop should always offer at least one item in the shop that can be purchased with gold. Otherwise, the only way for you to unlock them is to test your luck opening up boxes. And that kind of feels like gambling, honestly, because like gold is useless to someone like me because I've already spent hundreds of dollars on the game and my account is already maxed. We all know of gaming companies who use predatory gambling-like mechanics in their game to encourage more spending. Supercell is not one of those companies. Even Clash of Clans that has like a really high pay ceiling, you know what you're getting with every single purchase. Even with Clash Royale, which I think has an even higher pay ceiling, I'm not sure, I don't know. But even if you don't unlock that legendary that you were wanting to unlock, every single purchase goes towards overall progress on your account. But with this one aspect of Brawl Stars, I can open up hundreds of boxes before getting all of the gadgets. And it does feel like gambling because every box that does not contain a gadget is an absolute waste. You know, assuming that you have everything else is maxed out and you have excess gold. Now, I really do not think that this is the intention of the developers. I think that their primary concern is the impact that flooding the game with gadgets would actually have on the game's health. We're talking about 33 new abilities that every player has to learn to play, and they have to be able to play around it as well, and that can be overwhelming if it happens all at once. There is a lot of wisdom in limiting how frequently gadgets are introduced into the game so that the meta just simply doesn't become super volatile. I think that that is really smart, but I think that they are limiting things too much. At this rate, it's going to be months before I have all of the gadgets unless I cave and start opening up boxes, which I just feel like is an irresponsible thing to do. It's gambling. I think the best thing that Supercell could do is guarantee that gadget offers come up in the shop, but limit it to only one offer a day. I think it's safe to say that less than 1% of the active players that are actually playing in the game are in my situation and would even have 33,000 gold to unlock all the gadgets from the shop. And I cannot imagine that the meta would really struggle that much if less than 1% of the players were getting one new gadget every single day for just over 30 days, right? Okay. Enough about gadgets, right? I love them. I just want to be able to play more of them. Now let's talk about Jacky. Oh man, Jacky is strong. And I don't even have her star power or her gadget. She is so strong. And from what I hear, once you have her star power and her gadget, she is like, she goes from being S tier to being like nightmare tier. So yeah, she needs a nerf. I think decreasing her attack damage would be a good way to go. I'm sure that Supercell will figure out something great for her. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before she'll get a nerf, so let's, you know, I guess just push her for now if you got her. Which you should, because she was only a super rare brawler, which isn't actually very rare, even though it's super rare. That's confusing. As far as my thoughts on her personality goes, my thoughts are confusing. On one hand, she looks super cute and I love her artwork. On the other hand, her voice lines are like an angry construction worker and she sounds super rough. I think her voice lines are hilarious and I think that most people would agree with that. I did guess that we would get a golem brawler to complete the minor trio with Dynamite and Carl, but Jacky is just, she's a great fit for it. And I feel like she really just feels like she belongs in the Brawl Stars universe. Now let's talk about Sprout. I can't really say a whole lot about Sprout until Supercell lets me do a sneak peek on him, but I can share a couple of things. Okay, first of all, I think the artwork is just genius. It is so hilarious. The fact that he has a sticky note for his face. Oh my gosh, that's so great. And it's also really clear that he's like one of Rosa's experiments and completes the jungle trio with Rosa and B. I am really excited to talk about Sprout's mechanics with you guys. Sprout is going to be very interesting. Let's talk about the Psg Cup. I think that Supercell did such a great job with the Psg Cup challenge. I love that they put a challenge in there where you can unlock a new skin before that skin is actually purchasable within the shop, right? I think it is such a fun way to introduce a new skin, and I really hope that they do more challenges like this in the future. And also, one thing I love is that when you're playing in the Psg Cup, which you're seeing, that's my gameplay from my Psg challenge over there, it actually has PSG decorations, right? Like, that is so cool. Small touches like that, they just make a really big difference, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Now, since this challenge wasn't for a competitive esports like qualifier or anything like that, I do think it would have been cool if they allowed people to pay gems to try the challenge multiple times so that, you know, the people that didn't win the skin could actually unlock more rewards. But I do think that the challenge was very well done. Honestly, I think one thing that's really cool that people aren't really talking about or thinking about is the fact that they're doing stuff that is encouraging people to become more invested in the competitive esports scene for the Globals Finals, right? When Brawl Stars does their 2020 championship, everybody is going to know that PSG is one of the teams. And I'm guessing that the other qualifying teams are going to have similar events like that so that the entire world is going to be aware of the competing finalists. Let's talk about the skins. I love Daryl's remodel, right? I felt like old Daryl, he's felt a little bit too old. In fact, when he was first released, I kind of felt like he looked a little too old. And then they like revamped everything, and now I feel like he just really looks good. He feels like he belongs in the game now, and I really like that. Also, I feel like the artist did a great job with the profile icon. It's excellent. It fits him well. I really like the mascot Daryl skin. I feel like it's very accurately priced at 80 gems. I love the confetti shooting out. PSG Shelly, she's not my favorite skin. Shelly, Shelly's so cool, right? But I do think that it is really cool that PSG Shelly is part of like the 2020s esports history. And I could be wrong, but I think that it's going to be a skin that's not going to be purchasable forever, right? Like once 2020 is over and the esports championship is done, I can't imagine Brawl Stars throwing PSG Shelly into the shop again, right? So it's cool. It's a part of history. Because of that, I do think that it's worth the 80 gems, but normally I would have priced it at like 30 gems because it looks so similar to regular Shelly, but I don't know. It's cool. I like that it's in the game. Now, Dark Bunny Penny, really, this is a cool skin. I don't quite think that it's worth 10,000 star points, but I can see the justification after they improved some of the effects. In fact, when it was first released into the game, it was missing some of the effects that were in the developer build, and then they actually fixed that and put some of them back into the game, and that made it a little bit more worth it. Call of Gems, I feel like it's pretty perfectly priced at, you know, 500 star points. It's slightly more than a recolor, so it's really good value. I wouldn't, you know, do more than 500 star points, but I feel like that's kind of perfect. Coach Dynamite, okay, this skin is so cool. I'm actually doing a giveaway on Twitter with this skin, and it's ending like within a few hours of this video being released, so go check out my Twitter if you haven't already. I'm also doing Mascot Daryl on my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me there. Links are in the description for both of them. I definitely think that Coach Mike is worth 150 gems, right? Looks so cool. The animations are amazing. It's a really cool skin. Tanuki Jessie, super cute. I can't really talk about it too much until it's released, but I do think that 150 gems sounds about right. Same thing with Horace Bow. Can't really talk about it a whole lot, but I do think this is one of the coolest skins in the game. Absolutely would be worth 300 gems, right? I think it is really cool that Supercell's releasing it at 150 gems because this skin has history to it, right? It is the first community-made skin being released into the game, and people are super excited for it. I really think that Supercell knows that they are missing out on revenue in order to make it a more affordable skin for the community to enjoy because it's community-driven and we're all excited about it, right? And that's also really awesome, especially considering that they also paid $10,000 US to the artist who created it. That's straight up like hashtag humans being bros, right? Like, I love it. It's so good. Let's talk about the new environment. The Brawl Ball Stadium is here and I love it. I love the Brawl Ball Stadium. Once again, the artists really went above and beyond to make a theme that really fits the game so well. And there are so many fun little Easter eggs in it, like the scoreboard that changes depending on the score, or like the bots in the stands who are cheering from the two teams. I personally love the ref that's just like sleeping on the sidelines of it. I really like it, and I'm excited to talk about how I think it fits into the Brawl Stars universe. That's right, guys. Brawl Theory 2.0 is on its way. Now let's cover a few other random things. I love the underdog system. Since the update, I have been an underdog exactly 0 times. I don't think it's going to impact most people very often, but it's good to know that it's in the place. I never thought it would be something that people would see very often. I also feel like the balance changes were pretty good. They were fine. The meta was gonna change a ton with the addition of gadgets, and well, we're gonna see a lot of changes here pretty soon. At least from what I can tell. I'm also really glad that they brought back some of the fan favorite maps like Feast or Famine. Thank you for listening to us, Supercell. Love that. And they also got rid of some of their lower performing maps, okay? I think it is so fantastic that Supercell is always adapting the maps to keep things fun and exciting. It's really commendable for them to like spend time creating maps, putting them into the game, realizing that they weren't as good as they wanted them to be, and then throwing that out in order to put something in that's a little bit better, right? I love that. I think it's really great, and they're trying to make every single map map as exciting as possible, and that's really cool. I like that a lot. Overall, I give this update a 9 out of 10, which, if I remember correctly, that is the highest I have ever rated a Brawl Stars update. It would have been a 10 out of 10 if it weren't for like the shop preventing me from actually experiencing the biggest part of the update, but a 9 out of 10 coming from me is just like really good. And I think Brawl Stars is going to have to come up with something really game-changing in order to top this update. This is an update that will change Brawl Stars forever, and I am really proud of the developer team for how hard they worked on it. It's very clear to me that the Brawl Stars team is just getting started, and 2020 is going to be a big year for the game. I want to know what you guys thought about this update. Go ahead and rate it on a scale from 1 to 10 and let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with anything that I had to say? Would you like to add on to anything or anything like that? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.